Hello there and welcome. In this video I got you 10 different tips and tricks around the Masteries system in Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things that help me out in easing the grind and making things easier and more effective to do. Because at the end of the day, this is a pretty big list of things we have to do and we can do, and yeah, I hope this will help you out. So, number one I want to talk about, and here we're going to switch over all of the different challenges. The first one is more about the class mod mastery and how to circumvent the problematics that this one has, namely the lack of healing. You have a very limited amount of healing, and if you get the tactical cookie out of the supply box in this one, you have basically already drawn a much easier run for this one. Can't stress out how useful that one is. Generally, the tactical cookie is a good one, but it's really the most excellent thing in the class mod mastery thing, because seriously, we have a smaller map, so we have lesser resources, and we only can heal in the shop, and the tactical cookie is the only thing that I found that does heal you without breaking the, without being noited by the challenge things here. Okay, number two. Generally, be aware of the fact that shopping is way more valuable in the class mod mastery due to the DRG coupons that you got, but I also figured that shopping was also way more mighty in the weapon mastery area because we can funnel everything into one weapon. This means when you get access to rewards where you get Nitra or Gold, these are especially tasty in this game mode. Nitra is, in the Weapon Mastery mode, more interesting, and the Class Mod Mastery Gold and Nitra rewards are especially useful because we have discounted prices, and therefore we get much more bang for a buck than usually. But I also discovered, due to the fact that the Weapon Mastery only comes with 3 levels, we also benefit a lot from having a strong investment force here, because shorter run means we need to scale faster, more money, scaling faster. It's that easy. So, item-wise rewards out of the hoarders and such, you sometimes get Nitro and Gold. Take them into consideration more for these mastery modes. Number 3, here's a really wicked one. You can play these on the smallest available hazard level that you can. Some of these weapons here obviously force you into hazard 4, but if you can play a weapon on hazard 2, there is no further stat bonus behind it. At least I didn't find any. I did the experiment with the Deep Core GK2. The mastery bonus didn't increase after going another level, so if you know more than me, because the Wikipedia is stating out something different here, that's why I am a little bit confused, but as far as I see things, finishing challenges on the lowest available level is giving you the full reward. I mean, the text also states it out like that. Therefore, don't go harder than you must, because these are challenge modes after all, and kicking out of it yields you with no reward after all, which means even more time spent here, which bothers me personally, because I don't like to spend unnecessary time in grindy games, and maybe you're thinking like me. So number 4, this goes for the weapon mastery things. Aim for AoE Overclocks wherever you can. Several weapons in this roster really struggle at killing off elite enemies or killing off larger amounts of enemies at the beginning of their career. Most of these weapons, though, have overclocks that allow you to increase the spread, and this is, to me, one of the best ways of dealing with the situation. Some weapons are notoriously bad, though, in killing elites, in my opinion at least. The ones that have odd aiming behaviors. In these scenarios, my biggest recommendation is death by supply pod. In the higher difficulty levels, the supply pod obviously doesn't cut it to kill the elite enemy on its own, but it gives you a strong advantage and gives you a good foot into the door to finish the job. But some weapons just flat out suck at killing elites, and yeah, I found out that sometimes you get lucky and you get the correct overclocks, and sometimes you just don't. The run sucks a little bit. More about that a little bit later down the road too. So, number 5, unlocking masteries and masteries. So here's a fun part. When you select a gun that is on hazard 3, you can unlock the mastery for the subclasses. When you go for the biome masteries, you can really well unlock the weapons there because you have a double length run there. So I like this because I spent a lot of time in here and still am spending. That's where I took the inspiration for this video. And as you see there, these weapons can be easily unlocked either in the class mod masteries, because there you also have a run of 5 levels and I've unlocked a couple of guns there, or like I said, in the biome mastery, just don't pick too odd because you don't want to fall out of the difficulty level here at the end of the day. Alright, number 6. Masteries are the perfect preparation for higher hazard levels in the main mission branch here. Going there is a lot easier when you've done your masteries. But I personally think class mod masteries plus biome masteries plus maybe a couple of weapon masteries are enough. Obviously, your weapons grow a lot more powerful with mastery, but I don't think that it is strictly necessary to grind out the entire mastery tree. I personally found that the biggest advantages came off of the subclass masteries because, you know, stat bonuses always go a long way, and same goes for the biome masteries because these give you strong bonuses that make the runs in these areas easier. And if you don't want to spend too much time in here, stick to the class mods you like, stick to the biomes. I strongly would recommend to complete these entirely and then go for the weapons. Alrighty, so number 7, a couple of gear tips. So with version 1.0 we have now gear, which changes the entire mastery thing a little bit. There's 2 types of runs that we have, long runs and short runs, and luckily there's also 2 types of gear. There's gear that gives you passive bonuses whenever you pick up something, you upgrade something, here for example this one, or you kill a loot bug or something. These are all excellent choices here, Meta Resource Mind, for those longer runs or those, yeah, longer runs. The character class challenges are not so much well fit for that because of the smaller maps there. You will not get that many resources there. Red sugar doesn't exist in the class mastery, so this brings me to the point that these here for example, bonuses that give you something right off the drop pod leave, or permanent bonuses that are not bound to scaling things, are, in my opinion, pretty good in this challenge mode. So I didn't collect too many of them because I didn't see the advantage in the first place. Every level up things are also very, very good. In short, you have in the biome challenge the ability to pick up those scaling trinkets and go really big with them, and in the weapon and in the subclass challenges, you should take the ones that give you an immediate payoff, or one that scales just with level, because experience points we actually can grind very reliably in these other game modes. Alright, number 8, a very, very quick one, but I really gotta stress it out. When you're playing the Weapon Mod Mastery branch, you really gotta watch out and don't pick those tag upgrades. This is the game mode where you just want to pick all the time weapon upgrades, because tag upgrades will only be effective when you have more than one weapon, and unless you get the lucky drop of the artifact which gives you an extra weapon. There isn't one that gives you a second weapon in this mode that even works, but apart from that, tag upgrades are practically all inferior unless you draw a lucky legendary one, but even these are quickly outscaled. So that just as a quick side note. I found it obvious, but I wanted to point out that in this mode, it is all about finding the correct build for your weapon and finding out what's the best thing that goes with what this weapon does. Alright, number 9, random number generator issues. So I can't put it into friendly words, but sometimes you just get unlucky. When you get overclocks, you can't reroll them, therefore sometimes you just end out with a worse run than the other time. Sometimes you get at the end of the road at the level 18 upgrade the favorite one upgrade, which is in the weapon mastery mode absolutely genius because it does downgrade the other weapons. Which other weapons? So there's the thing. But we can't control that. And the same is for the class mod mastery. Like I said in point 1, when you draw that tactical cookie, things are so easy. If you don't, it's a much harder run. So RNG blatantly dominates these game modes, and especially the class mod and the weapon mastery one. So what I want to try to say with that is that's one more reason to play it at the lowest available difficulty, and sometimes it is just doomed because you don't have the necessary resources, especially on the higher difficulty levels. That's more and more true. So don't sweat it when the beginning is really bad. Sometimes it pays off to restart because you can make yourself life easier. If you are into that kind of thing. If you are one of those people who likes to fight it out until the very end, I appreciate, but we are all wired differently. Alright, and number 10, last but not least, stay efficient with your builds. All 3 of these modes have the tendency to topple you over, except for the weapon mastery. When you know what the weapon wants, this becomes stupidly easy quite quickly. But class mod mastery always stays dangerous because of the fact that a couple of times too many you ignored the enemy damage and you are already close to dying. This happens too quickly in this game mode, and you gotta stay on your toes the entire time. And on the biome mastery, you really want to tweak those damage numbers, because after level 5, when the whole cycle repeats, I noticed that the base stats of the monsters really go up quite substantially. And several of my builds just fell down because I didn't optimize the damage well enough. So that's one of the things I strongly want to recommend here. Don't take these too easy. They really want to kill you, and they are pretty good at that too. So keep an eye out on staying efficient. Weapon mastery is mostly for toying around, in all honesty. Once you melt the enemies quickly in level 2, you usually also do so in level 3. That's my rule of thumb. So if level 2 grows ridiculously easy, congratulations, you understood the pattern of your weapon, and you'll most likely finish the run like that. If not, you might be very unlucky with the upgrades, or you should opt into a different way, like critical hit or potency and status damage. There's most of the time some way to make it work. Alright, that's been that. I hope this helps you out on that topic. Let me know what you think, what helped you out. I'm all eager to hear, because 1.0 version has changed a couple of things in that system. And yeah, let me know what you think. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, consider donating via Ko-fi or any other given means. There's a couple of them downstairs in the description box. I'm a self-employed content creator, so I can use all the help that I can get. And I want to say thanks for all the help that I get. So, appreciate that. And, last but not least, thanks for hanging out on this video, and see you on the next one.